April 12, 2023, coming to order. Ms. Patrick, have the roll call, please.
Mr. Harris?
Here?
Ms. Johnston? Mr. Tomei? Mr. Williams?
Here.
Mr. Rupel? Mr. Robertson?
Here.
Ms. McDonald?
Thank you. We're going to move to the agency update due to the fact that we don't have a quorum, so we will postpone approval of the minutes until next committee meeting next month. So let's go ahead to agency update, Charleston County Sheriff Department. St. John's Fire Department. Yes.
We have, let me get with Aaron, who I was just introduced to now. You want me to go over there? Okay, all right.
If you would, please.
I got you, okay, understood.
Turn this mic on.
I hear you, okay, I hear you. Just trying to be a little informal, you know, with the small group. So we are hosting at our fire station number 4 on April 28th, it's a Friday, at 9 a.m. We're going to have a blessing of our new fire engine that we're putting in service. That will be specifically for Kiowa Island. As a part of that, we'll have some light refreshments and stuff as well too, but as part of that, the Kiowa Photo Club, and I apologize if I have their name incorrect, is basically donated about 40 different canvases to our firehouses to make them kind of spruce them up a little bit as well too. So a bunch of their stuff is going to be on display as well too at that. So the public is welcome. I'm going to get Aaron a whole bunch of information when we finalize the details, probably tomorrow or Friday. And so you guys can see that, and the community is more than welcome to join. We're going to work with the resort on some parking along Sora Rail and in the back there. And I'm probably going to ask Rob too about the storage areas there too, because we may have quite a few cars. So really, the other big things, we've about to order our heavy rescue, which is a new apparatus that we're going to be placing in service. We do have about a 2-year lead time right now on apparatus, so we probably won't see that truck till sometime in 2025. But that is something that we're going to add to our complement that can do lots of different things and more specialized rescue things as well too. And I had a brief discussion with Director Harris about we've had several incidents over the last year, particularly with construction workers, primarily construction workers falling from pretty significant heights and stuff doing various jobs. We had one last week that was, I believe it was power washing on a second floor, fell off of a ladder and had a pretty critical patient. So I know it's hard sometimes to pull data on that, but what I can tell in last year, we've had about 5 of those instances where somebody, particularly on Kiowa, fell off of a larger area. So I am welcome to look into some more data we have on that as well too, but it's something that kind of, I don't know, within the last year or 2 years has really kind of popped up more and more, so.
I appreciate, yeah, I'm going to also reach out to DHEC and spoke to him last time about the last one we had and see what we can do. And also coordinate with our building inspector director about that as well. So,
and we usually, there's been quite a bit of follow-up recently from OSHA, SC
Yes.
OSHA on some of that stuff, so just that. Other than that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
And what time was that event again on 28th? What was the time?
It'll be at 9 a.m.
9 a.m. All right. Any questions? No. Thanks. Thanks, Ryan. Charleston County EMS?
Good morning. My name's Kim. Going back through the data for the month of March, just for Kiowa, you had 29 calls. We had roughly 5 calls that took us a little longer to get there, about 20 minutes or more. For the most part, 12 of those were Bravos, and that's the higher amount. And those usually the falls, not the long falls, but the trips and falls, bicycles and things of that nature. And 3 of those were Alpha. One of those calls out of the 5, the data was incorrect. They just didn't hit the on scene. So we had to correct that actually. But other than that, you guys pretty much, I believe, Chief Abrams sends you pretty much all the data for our previous month of calls. So yeah, that's pretty much it, unless you guys have anything for EMS.
And I know you mentioned it. Can you just describe the Alpha, Bravo, Charlie, and Delta again?
Just the seriousness of the call. Alpha, no lights and sirens. Bravo and above, lights and sirens.
Okay.
Awesome. Anything else, you guys? I appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Beach Patrol.
Good morning.
Come on.
Still got a lot of training going on, trying to get ready for the season and wrapping up our hiring for the season. So we're pretty close to being finished with all of that. Otherwise, we're thankful for the cool weather that came during the Easter weekend. It kept stuff down for us. So before that, things got kind of warm, and there's a lot of people on the island, a lot of people using the beach. So as the weather warms back up, we expect things to pick up pretty quickly. Other than that, we've got our National Lifeguard Conference. The United States Life Saving Association conference is in Redondo Beach coming up the end of this month. So I'll be headed out there for a couple of days. And other than that, all the statistics are submitted. So if there are no questions, that's all I have.
Any questions?
No, I don't have any.
Nancy, any questions? Thank you. All right. Kika, anybody from Kika? I know Mark is out of town, and thought he was going to send a representative. So again, we'll have them to do the presentation on next month, along with the current monthly. Old business. Wedding on the beach recommendation. Dwight, you want to just give a brief where we at with it as far as the meeting we had the other day?
Yeah, just briefly, we met, I guess, what day is it we meet? On
Monday.
Monday. Went over some of the other ordinances from local beaches and actually beaches in Florida. I think we put recommendations adopting and, let's just say, adjusting some of those recommendations to be more keyword specific. Right now, again, we're looking at, all the issues that are involved, from the number of people, how many, the hours that to be permitted, amplified or non-amplified, sound on the beach, how chairs, similar items will be supplied by the beach to the beach. We also present at the meeting were the Sandcastle representatives and Beach Patrol. So again, I think we got a pretty comprehensive list of the things that need to be addressed. I think we have our recommendations pretty well hammered out.
Yeah.
And I think at this point, it's going to go forward to the board for their consideration.
Correct. So once we compile all the information, not just talking about it, it's going to be on a draft write-up with the proposal of a new application form for Wedding on the Beach with the same restrictions that we spoke upon last month. I'll have to go through our town council for 2 readings, so that it'll be the first reading and the second reading for the final approval. But there will be a lot of restrictions on it, which conducive to town of Kiowa. If you, I think it was about 2-3 weeks ago, most of you Barry Allen's already doing some reconstruction on their wedding on the beach due to similar issues. So it's becoming a growing trend for Barry Allen's when it comes to wedding on the beach. So, which is a great thing to do, but everything going on right now, I think is good for us to stay ahead of the game and have some type of restriction, but more of accountability of activities on the beach, which also help out with beach patrol. So, new business. So the town, after every council meeting, have drop-ins for the community members to voice their concerns with town council. And some of the concerns, because we don't have the right quorum here, and this was one of us, great time to have Key Cares to help us out on some information that's coming from their part, so I'm holding that back until next month. But just something that we need to also just think about, and this is where fire department and EMS also may have some, and also Beach Patrol may have some input on, protecting pedestrians and cyclists at certain streets crossings, and within the second B is vehicles using the left lane at the main gate to avoid traffic delays. And I know we're currently working on that with Kika. There's some logistics that we handle on, so we can table that until next month. But protecting the pedestrian and cyclists in crossings, and I know that came up last month in our meeting when we talked about e-bikes. But that's a growing concern with the residents now. And we can start throwing out some ideas and take it over to next month where we have a full staff, so we can kind of vote and monitor how we're gonna handle that. So any question, any comments on that? And also from the floor too. Anybody can add any comments on that?
Well, again, I guess my only comment is I think there is some design studies going on, correct, for that intersection or for that area regarding pedestrians and bicyclists?
Yes, yes.
I don't know what they will solve, or certainly I agree it's a problem. I think the bicycles, they've kind of popped out in front of me. They're kind of hard to see coming out of the wooded area. But it's certainly an issue. We've had accidents there. The left lane, we're talking about the left lane exit, again, an issue. I think there's a couple things design-wise that could possibly be done by, almost barricading that left lane right at the other side of the intersection and then opening it back up to make the left turn into the rental, not the rental, but the real estate office. But because it is open all the way down there, maybe reducing the length of the lane for a left-hand turn. The second thing, which I don't think we can depend on, would be some level of enforcement from Charleston County Sheriff, but because you don't have to sit there long to see it happen.
Correct.
So,
Nancy?
Well, that Q Island real estate bike path, to me, is one of the most dangerous, because if you're going in or out of that office, the bicyclists aren't paying attention to the stop signs. That's, it's a lot of that. We have that at Freshfield so much. We've got signage for the cyclists not to be on the sidewalks. Nobody pays attention. Somebody's always almost getting hit, or even if they're in the streets, they're not, they're on vacation. Right. They're just not being cognizant of their surroundings, and I don't know. Does more signage help? No, I don't know. Yes, I'm so sorry. Sorry.
It's all right.
Did everybody miss all of that?
Conversation, I couldn't even hear you.
I apologize.
That's all right.
Just really talking about a safety issue at Freshfields, and I started with the Q Island real estate office there. It spooks me going in and out, because you can't see part of the bike path, and you really just, I don't know. I don't think the cyclists are paying as much attention as they should be. I don't know what the solutions are either.
yeah, again, I don't think it's easy. I think it's going to be a design issue. The only thing that's really going to solve it short term, I think the only real possible solution is enforcement, and it seems to be a little bit hard to come by.
St. John's or EMS, have you guys, even Beechville, have you guys received, experienced any call volume in reference to auto pads, bike, bicycles and vehicle accidents?
I mean, we've had, I feel like, years, they happen. I'd have to go back and look at raw data on where they're happening at specifically for us. But I know, it seems like a few times a year at least, it's some type of
Auto pay.
pedestrian, traditionally with bikes, as well too, but I'd have to go back and find some more data.
Kim?
Yeah, so most of my data is not necessarily out here dealing with vehicles per se. It's mostly falling off and things of that nature, or just inappropriate manners of bicycle use. My data that is throughout the county for those e-bikes is, again, bicycle error, not vehicular error. And even most recently, had a bicycle, an e-bike literally run into the back of vehicle. I guess that I hear they go to up to 20 or
Yes.
25, 30 miles an hour. So it's, is there a way to distribute bike safety a little bit more and hammer on the bike safety as well? Just some thoughts on, like obviously you rent and things, maybe that should be a pamphlet of some sort, since you have a lot of pedestrian and bike paths as well.
Rob?
The biggest thing I see is a couple of things. One, the one bicycle accident that I was on the last time, it was a bicycle that just completely failed to stop and ran into the trailer of a bicycle truck with a bike trailer, one of the rental bike companies, and so that was just him failing to stop and just breezing through because he didn't know that there was a trailer. So I think the problem, the main problem would be solved if the bicyclists were stopping and waiting on traffic to clear and make a safe crossing. But I also think that the problem is complicated because you have drivers that are very courteous and they're stopping in a lane of traffic with no stop sign and waving people across, but you've got traffic coming the other way, and so that's problematic too. But I think it fundamentally boils down to the bicyclists are not yielding to the stop sign and waiting on traffic to pass. And the way that the bike paths are designed, they run parallel to the parkway very closely to the intersection. So when you're turning off of the parkway onto the side streets, even Sora Rail where we are at, I've had numerous close calls, and it's not because we're doing anything wrong as drivers. It's usually because bicyclists are failing to yield to that stop sign.
Well, do you guys see like any particular area that is really, really egregious as far as the confusion with the bikes, the bicycles and the leading out to the roadway? Like what intersections are the most critical ones?
I think that's sort of rail. And you just mentioned that. So I know I have heard from our personnel before the fire truck, which would be, minimizing the car hitting someone with a fire truck is something we don't want to have happen, obviously. And I know they've turned on Sora Rail before. It's that crosswalk on that side of Sora Rail that people just don't. They're, just.
They're oblivious.
Yeah, and you've got so much everywhere. But it's coming in and out of Sora Rail is traditionally, you've got Resort Beach, everybody kind of Sora Rail. It's,
Okay. What would be the second?
In general, but you got a lot of motion and coming from all different directions, going all different directions, and so trying to get through there on a bicycle is probably challenging enough. But that's probably. And there have been a couple of accidents.
First gate.
Yeah, the first gate area as you're exiting that looking at traffic trying to pass you on the left illegally and go straight through. You're looking at people making the turn, people coming across, and then just about the time you're ready to go, someone will pop out in front of you on a bicycle on the right, and it's, like you said, pretty heavily wooded there and dark. You just don't.
I've been to our Station 6 before, where Flyway is kind of a larger intersection on that end, but with Flyway and Station, where it comes to dead ends at Station 6 there, I've been there before and just watched people just not even stop and go right across Flyway, not even stopping on that path there in front of the fire station. Like I don't think it's necessarily a larger issue for us, but that's one where it's just, I think they go past a lot of smaller roads, don't think about it, and then they come up to Flyway, thinking it's kind of the same thing, but Flyway has quite a bit more traffic coming out of it than most of those other roads do. That makes sense.
Do we turn on
Areas are
Yeah.
Kika responsibility.
Is it fair to say most of the time is visitors, or it's hard to say?
Probably an assumption.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that. I would say it's probably even.
It's even.
board? I think more visitors use the bike path, but I don't think it's exclusive to any one visitor versus resident or anything. I think when you're on that bike path, you're going through trails that, I mean, are wooded and kind of closed off and sectioned off, and you don't see the traffic, and then you come up to one of the intersections and you've been coming up several hundred feet down that path, not seeing any traffic, and then as you're coming through the intersection, somebody turns on one of those side roads, and so you just get lulled into that false sense of security and think, oh, I don't need to stop. I've been watching this intersection the whole time. So.
I do agree that it sounds like, as I guess for a start, while we work on working together with Kika to try to fix that, these bike paths. But I do agree that maybe we can start off with putting some type of signage or notification somewhat out there. Be a little creative to attract individuals to actually pay attention to the rules and regulations. So we won't. I mean, that can be done with just a little bit of creativity. We can start there, because last we wanted to.
There are a couple of areas on Seabrook that I've noticed in the past. They're normally where a bike path ends, but it would be easy enough. It's just like a wooden T, and it stops you. Doesn't mean they're not going to go around at the bicyclists, but there's still the stop sign for the bicyclists, but this T-bar coming up forces you to kind of think about, oh, I should probably stop my bike now. I don't know how cost-effective that would be to install something like that, but they sure did work on the areas in Seabrook, because it was where the bikes were coming up to Seabrook Island Road there, right past your station is one of them. It's just a thought. It just makes you think. Doesn't mean you're not going to go around it, but it certainly gives you pause.
Anything from any councilmen in the back? Any comments? No? Okay. Yes, sir. Okay. Yeah. And just to let you know, Councilman was in part of that meeting, and a lot of things that you guys are bringing up was pretty much about 90-some% of what came out of the meeting in the drop-in, so. All right. So, again, I'm not going to go in depth with the main gate, because I do need a representative here from Kika for this, so we're going to table item B until next month. Chairman update. So, in my 26 years, I never thought that I would be talking continuously about active shooter. My first involvement with active shooter was Emmanuel 9. Thought that was going to be the first and last. And as today, we see more than just one. Less than a week, we had 3 different active shooter incidents. One started ILP Beach. The second was Monday, Louisville, Kentucky bank shooting. And yesterday was Washington, D.C. funeral home. 3 shootings. We had a conference call yesterday to assist and understand what resources that the Berry Islands have just in case an incident occur, which include Isle of Palm, Sullivan's, Folly Beach, and other chiefs were on the call. And the main thing that they were pushing was public safety, meaning everybody has to come together. And this is the same thing that when I met with Chief Keel from SLED, same thing he's pushing. It's time that we all have to start working together and share information, prevent silo effect, because this is not the time of day now to separate the gap, because when things happen, everybody's hand on deck. Tomorrow I'll be helping with Folly Beach because of the internet, social media, I guess you want to say prank or common trend. I think it's all pretty much people just want to see how first responders react. But there's supposed to be another gathering tomorrow on Folly Beach. I predict that this is going to be like a going trend for a couple weeks, just for people just to have fun. I would not be surprised if this island name is mentioned for a prank for next 2 weeks or whatever, okay? But I can reassure you that have resources already in place. There's a reason why I stress so much about emergency management, because this is where everything comes into play. So again, just reassure that we're open far as preparedness and continue making that connection. I appreciate everything that you guys have done. Ryan, Kim, Rob, when things happen, you guys let me know in advance so I can let my town government aware of what's going on. This is so important. This is why we have to know these things, because at the end of the day, as you saw with Isle of Palm Connector, who was on the press conference? It was the town administrator, the mayor, councilman, and the police chief. Nobody else. And that's what the community gonna be looking for, answers. So just to let you guys know, we are doing what we need to do. We have our MOUs and we have our IGAs with the right source. Actually, we're the only Berry Island to actually have that. Folly Beach is working on theirs right now because, again, they got a lot going on for tomorrow. Hopefully nothing won't happen. I think it's just a prank. But my hats off to those officers and first responders who responded to Isle of Palm. I'm not sure if Kim, I don't know if you related to that, but my hats off to you guys, because I've already heard about the gathering you guys had to do. So, please, if you have any ideas, any recommendation, feel free to let me know. I'm open to make adjustments. Ryan, you and I talked about this, and Stanley, from the very beginning. I'm very big about NIMS. I'm very big about utilizing that system correctly. So if you see anything, any recommendation that will help us out, please let me know. We'll definitely make those adjustments. Other than that, we completed active shooter training last week Friday. Was pretty good. It was For me, seeing it on the other side of it was different, but the staff and the security entities got what they needed. Everybody, I got nothing but positive comments about it. So we're going to put some stuff out to the community to advise them what certain things mean. I'm pretty sure you guys will know this when I say this, but we're going to utilize the RSP protocol, just like they use for the schools, since we do have a smaller population. But we're going to use the same protocol for all of our events, so that way you guys will know when someone is screaming secure or lockdown, you know they understand the system. So I think that'll be a lot more proficient across the board. So other than that, that's about it. I think our next upcoming training will be getting prepared for the hurricane. We'll have some scenarios, and we know that's everybody's favorite year to do scenarios, but we'll be doing that. And if we have time, I have some space, I may even throw in a critical incidents training with all the other first responders, so we can kind of test our response and communication, and that should be about it. Before I turn it over to the other council, I know Beach Patrol dealt with maybe, I think, about 7 to 10 individuals during this peak time with drugs and whatever. And I know Ryan and I talk about Narcan. May add that into a brief training, utilizing the program that already have a grant, do the training, and then we'll provide the resources with the Narcan. I'm kind of familiar with the program over there in Mount Pleasant. It's gonna be the same person. So if that will help expedite that, let me know. I can slide that in. Actually, that's, to me, I think it's just as important as preparing for the storm, because I know we might have a little increase on the beach this year. Yes. Okay. Well, if you would like, we can set it up here, and we can have the training here. That way, Kika, the resort, Beach Patrol, you guys, including the others, can do the training. Just want to make sure. Got any comments, questions about that? All right. Dwight, any comments?
Just in reinforcing what you said, I think, a lot of the stuff that was brought up today, a lot of different items involves the traffic laws, it involves, speed control for the safety of pedestrians. You talked about active shooters. I think all of this just kind of reinforces the need in Kiowa of reliable law enforcement presence. Correct. So it's something we probably need to talk about more.
Nancy?
Agreed, yeah. You and I have talked about it before.
Correct.
The need for the extra security at the Freshfields, especially during events. So, yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Any comments from the floor?
For St. John's, we've done considerable work the last, pre-COVID, we did quite a bit of work in regards to active shooter, and we did a lot of work at the county level between basically how particularly fire and EMS agencies respond for an active shooter situation. A lot of that dropped off during COVID. A lot of things did what we were doing in person. And we've been trying to work hard to get that spun back up to train. Where we're seeing issues, I think law enforcement agencies have had shortages as well too. So the dedication to actually do joint trainings and do these things have been, I think, what I would want it to be.
Okay.
We would love to partner more with our law enforcement partners to do more of that. So we're on the same page, because it is chaos. That's what it is. But we've kind of, again, we've siloed things. Yes. We're doing this, they're doing this, we're doing this, and it's, I don't think it's probably been working very well for us. So again, that's something we'll continue to keep reaching out to make those inroads. So keep doing this stuff, but it's been difficult to get all of these things done and trained, you know, if everybody aren't willing partners.
I would, I'll make a note of that and
It's a frustration I've had now. I know EMS in other parts, the city of Charleston, North Charleston, you know, I was sending my guys to North Charleston training. Because that's who was doing it, you know, so, you know, we've just gotta have to do more of that out here. And that's, even if it's a tabletop to start with, and then, you know, so.
I can tell you from an EMS perspective, speaking about Friday, I couldn't have asked better of a show from Charleston County Sheriff's Office and Isle of Palms PD. If you really wanted to see what coming together really meant that day, that was the day that all first responders, all public safety literally showed up to Isle of Palms and went to work and got the job done. So, you know, and we don't train often with Isle of Palms, you know, PD or Mount Pleasant PD for that matter, but they all did their part, as well as EMS and fire did their part, and it was very jam up. And all of the serious active shooter type calls in Charleston County, we have all came to the table and did a after action to do it better the next time. And we have improved over the last year between fire, police, and EMS. So you know, sorry that, apologize, St. John's, you know, we didn't necessarily include it because they weren't in the type of call, but certainly we would certainly be willing to do a tabletop and really review what happens. So,
and that, you know, that's the only sad thing about it, and you're both correct. It's like the only time that we share information on when things really get, when everybody come together is when doing tragic incident. And it should be like that on all incidents, you know. And I'm pretty sure Dwight can correct me if I'm wrong. That's why 9/11 occurred, because people weren't sharing information. You know, when certain individuals, certain groups had information and didn't share it with law enforcement, and this is the whole purpose. So now it seems like it's a flip, you know. So, but we definitely gonna have to do better, and I'm going to, I wrote it down, and that's going to be on the agenda to have a multi-agency active shooter training, as well as any other critical incidents, starting with us, you guys, and John's, and the local agencies. So I have it down, and that's going to be worked upon. I think that's extremely important. Yes, sorry, Russell.
Craig, where do we stand? Research into the emergency communication system if an event's happening. We talked about that a couple of months ago in the last meeting or so. And I know Kiowa has a red alert system, but you have to sign up.
Correct.
Given all the guests and visitors we have, that's a big hole if something happens. And we were talking about investigating doing a geographical alert system. So where do we stand with that?
Correct. So next month, Charleston County Emergency Manager, Assistant Director will be at our council meeting to do a presentation about that and the upcoming alert system. This new alert system will also give alert to our visitors within Charleston County area. So he will be here next month to talk about that, because we're under their tutelage as far as the contract goes. But let's just say we're moving in the right direction to get that done. And as far as the other alert system you're talking about, you're correct. You're talking about Code Red. And Code Red is a software where you have to register, just like Everbridge. Everbridge is the same thing. You have, the system is only good depending on who register for it. You download the app and get connected. I know myself and Aaron will meet with the county PIO director to set up a platform so we can give it back to our community, get them instructions on how to do those things. Okay. Anybody else had any questions about the notification alert? Chief, I don't know if do you guys use Everbridge?
Charleston County Emergency Management.
Yeah.
We don't set up things specifically for us.
Okay. I do know when I first saw Everbridge was in Greenville, South Carolina, when they had a shooting at the school, and it came out at real time. And my goal is to have it set not just for storm related. I want it set for critical incidents, and even if something happened off the island, let's say on a corner of Bohicket in Maine, or if our residents or visitors want to go downtown, at least as a public safety director, we'll be able to say, hey, if you don't want to go downtown, whatever, because they have a critical incident going on down there. But that's something that we're working on. Hopefully, with the new alert system, we'll be able to get that as well. I gotta wait and see what they actually got approved for, to see how wide it's going to be shared. But I think, far as critical incidents, I think with everything on right now, I think it's been open to more shareable events for first responders. But I can't really say right now until they tell me what their limitations are. I know you guys. I'm pretty sure you'll hear about it because I know you on the board, the committee, and you hear if anything changed. So, any other questions or comments about the alert system?
Still have access to like reverse 911
If need be. Yeah. Correct.
stuff like that that's in place already.
Correct. With this new system, it's a lot faster than reverse 911 because reverse 911 goes to the residents and whoever is registered, but with this new system, as long as they're in Charleston County, it would actually pick up the cell phones and send a message out. So, and I think Dorchester and Berkeley County is looking into it as well. So, at least we'll have we're in the right direction of getting it. So, we'll be fine with that. Any questions, comments? All right. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn?